Hey DC fans, welcome back to the Spectre Creative Channel with me, your host, Scott ToyGuru Neitlich, brand manager of DCU Classics at Mattel. And today we're doing cleanup, getting to all the remaining exclusives from the line. And you're going to see a big theme with these exclusives, and that's Green Lantern. Because in 2011 there was a theatrical movie about Green Lantern starring Ryan Reynolds and a giant blob of orange CGI. And we were all set to support this movie. This was hopefully going to be the breakout DC character that was going to, capture the hearts and minds of kids, and Mattel was all in. We were making a huge bet. So you're going to see a lot of Green Lantern in these exclusives. All right, so first up for 2011, we had Toys R Us repaints. And by the way, hopefully I remember every exclusive. If I missed any, just leave them in the comments and I'll do a follow-up video. But I think this is the last of the exclusives for retail before DCU Classics 1-2 Matty Collector. All right, so these four figures, these were single carded releases, and this was Toys R Us wanting something that was going to draw customers in, that would be unique, that could only be found on their shelf, and would be at a giftable price point. And talk about giftable, Batman is the gift that keeps on giving, because Batman is one of those characters that, well, you can repaint in so many different ways, and I'm not even talking about zebra stripe or tech suit. There are so many kind of collector-friendly decos, and it was pretty easy to pick out another collector-friendly deco for this single-carded release for Toys R Us. But it wasn't just going to be Batman in this assortment. We had 4 different characters, all with repainted deco. The second one, gee, what a shocker, Green Lantern. Like I said, you're going to see a lot of Green Lantern exclusives in 2011 because, we were all in on the movie. We really were. Everyone was like, this is the character that's going to break out. We're going to do it. We're going to make sure there's so many Green Lanterns out there this year. So he got repainted in his modern suit, which was basically a repaint and literally like a swap out for the All-Star figure from his classic suit that was released earlier. So both figures in the same pose in the packaging, just different deco, which of course was a re-release of the original version from Wave 3, was it? So here he was, Hal in his modern suit, made all shiny, which honestly this is actually one of my favorite Hal Jordan releases we did, also because I was a big fan of what Jeff Johns was doing at the comic at the time, and it was cool to have a version represented that looked right out of the comic book page. So, you can see the difference here. There's some differences in the way the pants are colored, the way the shirt is colored, and obviously the metallic. And there's definitely something about those white gloves that I remember Jeff told me once, the white gloves are really what make him a space cop. He just looks so much like a space cop because of the white gloves. That's why he never changed those. Okay, next up in this assortment of 4 was Flash. This was a repaint of, Wave 6? I know, my memory isn't that great on who came out in what wave. But we originally released a regular version of Flash, and now he was going to be all shiny. And this was, of course, the original Flash. This was Barry Allen, not Wally West. And we did an outfit that, was just going to pop a little bit more on shelf. And, well, yeah, shiny sells. Shiny catches kids' eyes. And while obviously DCU Classics was for adult collectors, it was also for kids, and kids needed to participate in the buying process, or at least gift givers. So there we have Barry given a shinier deco with the yellow swapped out for gold, and the reflective, metallic deco on his outfit to make him, run faster. Who knows? All right, rounding up the repaints, we had Nightwing in his red outfit. So while Nightwing is mostly known as wearing a blue outfit, which is how we released him in an early wave 2, again, memory, he did wear a red outfit for a while, and so it made logical sense, especially because it was a legitimate repaint. I really tried to shy away from those sort of toy variants like the tech suit Batman in DCU Classics. We tried to make all of the variants very comic book accurate and comic friendly. And while kids needed to buy this line, we didn't want to turn it into a full-blown, kid variant line. All right, so outside of the single releases, we had a few 2-packs that came out for 2011. And again, what a shocker. A lot of them were themed for Green Lantern because, again, we were going all in on this Green Lantern movie. So in this case, we were doing a pack of 2 of the Yellow Lanterns, Carousel and Romat Rue, who were 2 of the more prominent, I guess, lieutenants of Sinestro when Sinestro created his own corps of Yellow Lantern bad guys to face off in the Sinestro Corps War, which, if you haven't read it, is a fantastic, fantastic storyline and totally worth picking up because you get like major armies fighting each other with beams of light and, stuff. So Carousel was a sort of zombie-esque Yellow Lantern female who had these 3 Yellow Lantern dogs. And while we couldn't afford to pack 3 of them in with her at the full size, we were able to do 1. I would have loved to have done 3 because she's always shown with 3 of them. But hey, I mean, if you buy 3 packs and then sell the extra on eBay, you could get 3 dogs. So, there was a way to do it. But cost effective, we couldn't do all 3 in 1 pack. Next up on our standard male buck body, we had Romat Rue, who is a Yellow Lantern version of a prominent Green Lantern character, Tomar Rue. I mean, he's not Tomar Rue turned into a Yellow Lantern. He's just from the same species, kind of like how Baby Yoda is the same species as Yoda. Yes, I'm still calling him Baby Yoda. We had done some other Yellow Lanterns too. We did some head swaps, and of course we did Sinestro himself in his Yellow Lantern outfit when he was first released, and we'll get into a whole thing in a moment about the issue with his height in the first release, which was totally wrong. But the great thing was, by releasing more Yellow Lanterns, we could now build up, along with our Kilo here, who was a Build-A-Figure in a recent mainline wave, actually a Green Lantern wave. We were doing a lot. We were really pumping out the Green Lantern good guys and bad guys, but it made sense. Because at the time, again, we all thought, Warner, DC, Mattel, all 3 of us as partners, that betting on Green Lantern was a good thing. And Yellow Lanterns being the archenemies, whether you were a customizer or could fill it up with some DC Direct product, you could really make a Yellow Lantern army, combining it with the Mattel product. Some of these are customs in this image. But yeah, lots of really cool looking alien toys they make. All right, boy, I'm going to be talking about Green Lantern a lot. Just prepare for that. So the next 2-pack, we had Hal Jordan as a Yellow Lantern, and then Kyle as a Blue Lantern. And again, if you haven't been following the comic books at the time, this comes from Blackest Night, which followed up the Sinestro Corps War. And during this storyline, we got to know all the different colors of the rainbow, and everybody got their own ring and their own powers that were tied into an emotion, be it rage or willpower or hope or love or fear and avarice. So this, again, was the gift that kept on giving for toy companies because so many of the characters would swap rings during the storyline and would get another colored outfit. So Kyle became a Blue Lantern for a while, John became a Purple Lantern, and Hal became a Yellow Lantern. So great excuse to repaint existing figures with bright new colors. I mean, again, without having to do a Tech Shield Batman or Scuba Suit Batman kind of thing, where the variants are completely legit to the source material. So yeah, essentially, Hal Jordan with Sinestro's belt and Kyle Rayner in a new blue outfit, and you were good to go, and it was totally legit. Plus, Hal got a new angry head because, that's what Yellow Lanterns were all about. They were about fear. And, after DC Direct did their version of Yellow Lantern Hal, and seeing this, they got it out first, but I was like, we can do that better. And that was a big part of this, is because when we would a lot of times see figures from DC Direct, although they were exclusive to comic book stores, they were still our, competition, if you will, for the same dollar. So next up, turning from Green Lantern to Batman, who always sells. You can't not sell a Batman toy. This was also a repaint. You had Azrael in his red deco, and then Batman got a kind of a little bloody, torn rip to his suit there to, again, just at least make him a little different from the previous release, because I hate making people buy the same figure over and over again. I do also, I'm not trying to do the whole just different enough to make you mad. Try to at least make the repaint significant. And, Azrael in his blue outfit was released as a single figure. Doing him in his red outfit was, pretty significant. It wasn't just like, tweaking the eyes or, putting battle damage in like 1 or 2 spots. We gave him, a very significant in continuity from the comic books deco. So here he is in his red outfit from the comics, and it was pretty easy to just repaint the blue version red. And not easy, still had to go through all the processes, but no new tooling was involved, and tooling is where the cost is. That's why a lot of these exclusives have very little tooling. Speaking of which, one of my favorite exclusives we ever did was this Toys R Us 2-pack of Hal versus Sinestro. So this actually came out as sort of part of the Green Lantern movie line, but it was branded DC Universe, which is why it's in this video and not in the movie line video that I haven't done yet. So it was Hal Jordan facing off against his arch enemy Sinestro with the 2-colored lantern in the middle. And not only was this recreating an iconic cover, which we printed on the back, but this is a perfect example of really coming up with a creative exclusive that offers a lot of freshness, but doesn't use a lot of tooling, doesn't have new tooling in it. And Bill Beneke is, just a genius at doing this. We worked really hard together on this one. So quick background, Sinestro, if you're not familiar, again, is Green Lantern's arch enemy. He's, his Joker, his Lex Luthor, his Doc Ock. Is Doc Ock Spider-Man's arch enemy? Venom? I don't know. Either way, he's the iconic arch enemy that gets paired with Green Lantern, going all the way back to the 60s. And he was a little bit goofier, and his original outfit was a little goofy, which is also, I think, why Jeff Johns changed him to the yellow outfit, because it made sense. If he's a yellow lantern, he should be in a yellow outfit. And he was going to have, or rather did have, a very big role in the movie as a Green Lantern. Sinestro starts as a Green Lantern and then becomes a bad guy. He's got like a fall from grace storyline. So he would, in the first movie, be a Green Lantern, which is how he started in the comic book. And this was a great way to have, your arch enemy 2-pack. Again, if kids are discovering Green Lantern for the first time in the movie, you want to have Green Lantern and his arch enemy out there for them to buy. And we were able to raid a lot of the snap-on parts from things like the Metal Men and different previous Lantern releases, and cast the parts that were originally metal in now clear green. And Hal and Sinestro came with a ton of construct energy weapons. And this, again, is a perfect example of how creative toy makers, good toy makers like Bill Beneke, can come up with something that's fresh and original for fans that utilizes existing tools. So, you got the mace, you got the gun. All of these constructs were existing from previous figures that we just repainted or cast in green or yellow plastic. Very, very clever, and Bill did a great job of creating a really, really dynamic 2-pack with no new tooling, just by including new characters. But Sinestro did get an upgrade. So while we didn't have to tool a new body because we had a skinny male buck, we were able to make a major improvement. And this is one of those improvements that really drove me crazy and kept me up at night. So the original release of Sinestro, Wave 3, hope I'm getting that right, he was too short, bottom line. We did both versions. We did the blue outfit and we did the yellow outfit. And because we approved the figure from a photograph, but the photo didn't include other figures in it, we didn't realize that he was too short. He was too small. And this was like, especially if you're a Green Lantern fan, this was, absolute, I mean, look at it. You can see how much shorter the original release was. This is the yellow variant from Wave 3 versus this new 2-pack Sinestro. So, yeah, it was, embarrassing. It was, annoying. I don't know. I mean, a lot of, either way, and as a Green Lantern fan myself, it was frustrating. And I knew other Green Lantern fans would be frustrated by this too. So I worked for years as the brand manager to find some way to get Sinestro back out without making fans buy another Wave figure, because it didn't feel right to stick him in another Wave when he'd already had a single card release. So this 2-pack was perfect, because now we could take the existing Sinestro head, pop it on the tall, skinny body that we already had, and now you finally had classic Sinestro in his proper height. Eventually, we did also release the yellow version, and this wasn't a Wave, but at least we got it out there. And again, this was like years of trying to find the proper spot to re-release Sinestro without just throwing him in a standard Wave. And basically had to wait for the movie and the momentum of the movie to build a customized program around it. and sort of fix this error that had been since the early days of the line. All right, wrapping it up, the last exclusive for 2011 is the 5-pack. So we had 5-packs each year in 2009, 2010, and of course in 2011 it made sense to theme this for Shocker Green Lantern. And there's a lot of green in this pack. There are 5, count them, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 Green Lanterns and 5 lantern accessories. Very little tooling. We did offer some new tooling in terms of Guy Gardner there in the front, and I think it was Romat Rue's head there on Tomar Ray, on the right, the fish guy with the fin. But we could pop Sinestro's head on a Green Lantern body, and we gave Hal the dark gray hair, and now you can really again build out your Green Lantern force, much like your Sinestro Corps force. And if you're a customizer and you also collect DC figures from DC Direct, you could really build out your Green Lantern Corps. A lot of these are custom figures in this image, and a lot of them are DC Direct, but you can see some prominent Mattel figures there. Kilowog in the center, Stell in the back. So really building up that core in time for prep for the movie. So aside from the redeco of Hal, we had Jon Stewart in his 80s outfit, which was a little bit different than his modern outfit. And, again, for fans of historic Jon Stewart, this was a great way to refresh him from his original release, where he was in his modern outfit with the shiny metallic deco to the green on his sleeves and around his neck. So Hal had his gray temples, and Jon Stewart had his 80s outfit, which these are probably the 2 most prominent Green Lanterns, mostly because Hal, the classic version, and Jon was the version from the Justice League Unlimited animated series. And while fans love Kyle, love Guy Gardner, et cetera, and there's as well as a lot of the aliens, these are the 2 that the mass public at least would know the most, so it made sense to include them. All right, so with Jon Stewart box checked off, we were now going to get to another alien, which was Tomar Ray, and I believe we just used the head from Romat Rue. God, I know all these names. Which was from that 2-pack earlier in the video. So Tomar goes back to the 60s. He was a classic fish-headed sort of Green Lantern, and again a prominent role in the movie. So we wanted to make sure we got him out there for people that were going to now discover him through the giant smash hit movie. He did show up in some of the animation, and he tends to be a kind of go-to Green Lantern alien, and was great for the toy line because again he's a head, or at least he was an existing head because we had him from the Yellow Lantern version, same species. So you can see you could basically take this character, turn him into quite a few characters, and don't get me the whole Tomar 2, Tomar Ray thing. That's a whole other issue. All right. And now Sinestro in his Green Lantern outfit. So I mentioned earlier how Sinestro had started life as a Green Lantern and had a whole fall from grace thing where eventually he becomes a Yellow Lantern, and that was actually the sort of post-credit scene in the movie that was setting up what was going to happen in the inevitable sequel that everyone was excited about. And with Sinestro being a Green Lantern in the movie and not turning evil until the very end, we wanted to, again, make sure we had this version of Sinestro out there for kids who were discovering, or collectors, Green Lantern and the world for the first time through the movie. So having Sinestro on a Green Lantern body made, in his Green Lantern version made sense. So, there he is. Probably could have used the skinny buck. I don't know why we didn't. Maybe he wasn't available. But, that was Sinestro in his Green Lantern outfit. And then rounding out the pack, we had Guy Gardner, who definitely one of the more favorites from the fans, and trying really well to work him in the line for quite a while. He got pretty much all the tooling for this set. All went against him because he needed new gloves, new head, new vest, and he's, I guess, Hal's backup, because Jon Stewart is Hal's backup, and then Guy Gardner is Jon's backup, if I'm remembering the order correct. It may have changed since when this pack came out, but yeah, he's definitely a fan favorite. He was more of a, aggressive, bad boy, Green Lantern, of course, with the fishbowl haircut that sometimes makes it a little funny. But yeah, I mean, Guy Gardner, huge Green Lantern, been around for years and decades, and you were really building up your Green Lantern Corps at Mattel. There's Hal front and center with his gray temples, which he had for a while in the 90s. So even Hal got a improved version with this pack. Everyone gets a little change. And now that you had so many Green Lanterns in your collection, you were all set to go to the movie and be like, hey, I was ahead of the curve, right? Because this movie was such a huge, giant hit, and I already had the figures, and yeah, the movie wasn't as big of a hit as we wanted it to be. But it was really fun to work on, and I'll get a video about that soon.